Hi there, it's Jenna from scribblinggrace.com. Today I'm going to do another Bible Journal with Me tutorial video. I was reading through Matthew 17:20, which says, "He replied, 'Because you have so little faith. Truly I tell you, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, 'Move from here to there,' and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you." So I naturally decided that I was going to do a mountain scene, and I realized I still have not done any landscape or mountain scenes here on YouTube or my blog. So here we go. So I start by just really quickly drawing out my mountains. This is a really simple scene here. I'm not doing anything fancy. It's not going to be super realistic, but that's the look I'm going for. And I'm just doing two triangles, one that's a little shorter and one that's taller, because if you have them the same length, it'll look a little funky. And I'm using my Tombow Funosuke brush pen to kind of outline um, my mountains and then my sun as well. That'll just give me kind of that hand-drawn look, I guess. Of course, you could totally omit the the lines here. I just liked the look of it, I guess. So now I'm going to go ahead and paint. So I'm using my Kiritake Gansei Tambi watercolor set. In the blog post that goes along with this video, I will put all of the links to all the supplies that I used, so be sure to head over there. The link will be in the description below. And really, I don't have any technique really to adding the water on. I'm just grabbing a pretty good amount of water, a little bit of pigment to keep it kind of light, and just painted it on. One of my biggest things is just get the paint on the page. I think that helps keep my perfectionism at bay and helps me to overcome that fear, that initial fear of starting a new page. Just get it on there, just have fun with it. So now I'm going to go ahead and add some shadows. So this will add some more dimension to my mountain. I just took a little bit of a darker green color and added it to the left side of my mountains. If you think about it, since my sun is also on the left side, it doesn't really make sense, but that's okay. We're just enjoying our time in the Word. We're not going to overthink it. Little things like that I'm not going to worry about. So I did my 2 layers, and now I'm going to go ahead and add a second layer. So now I'm going to get my paint really pigmented. So I'm going to just use a little bit of water and a ton of paint, and that'll give me a nice deep color. I also splattered a little bit of paint on my page, but that's okay. I'm just going to dab it up, and it'll be fine. Alright, so I'm going to dry my mountains to make sure that my mountains are completely dry before adding my sunrise, just because I don't want those colors to end up blurring into my sunrise. So as I'm drying this, I want to remind you that if you do not like to cover up the scripture, you could totally do this in a smaller scale, and I actually did this myself, and I have a picture of that page in the blog post that goes along with this video to see how you can make it in just the margin, I guess. You could also create a tip-in using this technique or this page design. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start on my sunrise. So I'm going to try to keep it really pigmented at the top. I'm also trying to use the wet on wet technique here. So this is basically where I just wet the page first, and then I'm going to add in my watercolor. The thing about these Bible pages is that they dry super duper fast. So you have to work really quickly, especially with this wet on wet technique, because you want that water on the page to still be doing its job basically. So I kind of ended up giving up on the wet and wet technique just a little bit, just because I felt like it wasn't super necessary. But it does help to blend my colors a little bit, give you a nice pretty wash look. So naturally, as you're painting with watercolor, the first initial swipe is going to be a lot more pigmented than the rest of your swipes before you pick up your paint again. So I just used that naturally, kept it really dark at the top, and then let my paint kind of naturally run out towards the end, and that gives me a nice light pink color. And then while it's all still wet, I add in some orange and some yellows. and that way it'll all blend together. But you have to work quickly because you don't want your page to dry, or one of the colors to dry before you add the rest of the colors, or it'll kind of add some weird blotchiness. But of course that could be a technique that you might want to try. Art is always beautiful, and there's no mistakes. So that's me getting all profound. So that's the painting portion of my page. It was pretty darn simple. I truly believe that you could do it. It takes a little bit of practice to get the amounts of water down, but it is pretty fun to do. So I dried my page and then decided I wanted the top pink part to be a little bit darker, give me a little bit more of a gradient look, I guess. And so just add that paint back on top. No biggie. So now I'm going to go ahead and move on to the lettering portion of my page. So I am going to use my Tombow Fudenosuke brush pen. This is the same brush pen that I used to do the lines earlier for my mountains. I use this in 98% of the pages that I do for my lettering. It's just a really easy pen to work with. You can do small marks and big thick marks. So I used a pencil to outline what I was writing out. I'm writing out "Our faith can move mountains." And use the pencil first to give me guidelines, and then I just go ahead with my brush pen. So I'm doing brush calligraphy here. I have a tutorial on how to do that, and I will put the link to that in the blog post that goes along with this video. Basically, when my letters are going downward, I'm applying pressure on my pen, and when my strokes are going, or my letters, the lines of my letters are going upward, I'm applying as little pressure as possible to give me the nice thin upstrokes. So after I did my lettering with my brush pen, I decided to add some detail with a white gel pen. This is one of my favorite things to do, and I'm using a Uniball Signo gel pen. These are pretty easy to find in the States, and I'll put the links to to get it on Amazon in the blog post. And basically on all of the downstrokes, which is that thick part of my letter, I'm just kind of drawing a line and a dot, just to give it a little character, I guess. It's a little whimsical, just a line and a dot on all of the downstrokes. And then I decided that I wanted my mountains to stand out a little bit more, so I used the same pen to just go right on the outside of my mountains and my sun, and get those rays of the sun as well, give it that look of the light beaming out. Oh man, anyways, that's my page. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And be sure to reach out to me on Facebook or Instagram or in the comments below. All right, God bless everybody.